each ghostwriting agreement is different, and there are some key things that I look for in contracts. Sometimes clients will come to me with a contract because they have a legal department, let's say it's a corporation. And other times, if I'm dealing with an individual, I might put together just a summary of our understanding, what our relationship is going to be like. So you may be asked as a ghostwriter to put something together, and some of the key things that you want to either look for or make sure are included are, do you get credit? Generally, the difference between a ghostwriter and a freelance writer is that the ghostwriter does not get credit. But if it's really important to you, or if you're a big name, let's say you write frequently for the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or Business Week, and having your name on the book or on the blog is a benefit, the client may ask to give you credit. So just make that clear up front, whether you want your name on there or not. The pay, how much are you being paid and when? Some clients like to pay very little up front and everything else on the back end. And I caution against that because you have a lot at risk. Think about your own risks. I try and space it out over 4 or 5 different milestones. So you might get something on signing of the contract, something on development of the outline, something on development of, say, the first chapter, and then maybe at 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%, and then maybe one when it's all through edit. So break it up into as many pieces as you can, because then if anything goes wrong, suddenly the client files for bankruptcy, loses their job, decides to abandon the project. You only have that little sliver of the money at risk. You don't have 90%, as they wanted you to. Timeline. How quickly do they want this done? Some people are very flexible. It's sort of their life's work and they want it done, but it doesn't have to be next week. Other people have a contract and have to have it in by July 1st. And so you need to understand that and be able to work back and figure out when you're going to get it in. So another contract point to really look at is liability issues. Clients often write things in different ways saying you, the ghostwriter, are responsible for everything that's in this book. And if anything goes wrong and if they get sued, you're on the hook. And that's dangerous, obviously, mainly because you're often relying on information that the client has given you, whether it's in the form of phone interviews or background material or research that they've done. They're giving you everything, and your job is to organize it and then massage it, put it back together into something that's a final document. I personally don't think that the ghostwriter should be responsible for anything that's in there. The client could have plagiarized something and handed it over to you, and you wouldn't know because you're relying on the client to be honest with you about the source of that. So I always try and strike anything that has me being liable and try and explain to the client, the problem is I don't know where you're getting all this information. You could tell me a story and it could have been something you read last week. I don't know that. So I'm not going to take responsibility for that. And the final thing in the contract is make sure you're clear about who has the final say. Sometimes ghostwriters are a little bit unclear and perhaps have a different idea about how something should go in the blog post, the article, whatever it is. And it needs to be clear that the client has the final say. And again, that's a reason why you shouldn't be liable. So if they make any changes after you give them the document, it's on the client.
Thank you for listening. Please review our other available content for help writing, publishing, and marketing your book. If you have any questions about the Author Learning Center, please contact us by email at authorsupport@authorlearningcenter.com.